Hello, welcome to Mr. T's cello studio video. In this video, we're going to talk about how to practice. This is a very short and concise guide for practice for people who don't have lots of time to practice. Let's say if you only have 15 minutes to practice, then this is the strategy I am going to give to you. Cut the 15 minutes into 5 minutes interval. But before that, let's turn off one thing and turn on the other. First thing you turn off is your phone. Not just put on silent, not just put on the flight mode. You turn it off and do it almost like you're doing like a ceremony. You are triggering your mind into this idea. Now, in the next 15 minutes, I'm going to disconnect from the world. I am going to put all my attention, my focus into practice. Yeah, this is one of the most important things. If you worry about something emergency going to happen, of course it could happen, but the statistic says the emergency happened in the next 15 minutes when you turn on the phone is very, very, very low. So let's give it a try. Now, the second thing you want to turn it on is a timer, right? Any timer will do. This is a timer I got from Amazon, which is really cool. I like it a lot. I set a 5 minutes interval and then start, and let's go. First, we are very clear about what we're going to do. First, we need to find our sound, find our connection, find balance. So I do a couple finger exercise just to warm up. Very slow, but very deliberate. I do the lifting, do the scratching. I do a little bit the pinky push-up, and I will find the balance point with two of my finger, find the bow balancing under my finger. In this way, I feel bow is more weightless and I can take the bow anywhere I want. And then put the finger back, find the same balance. Now I can do a little pinky push-up again in this position. This gives me a great control of different dynamic and different color. Basically, is the pinky that's doing this job. If your pinky feel very weak, now you need to do more pinky push-up. This muscle here need to be very, very, very strong. Okay, after that, find your sound. The beginning of the tone is the most important tone. So you start from the very end of the bow and you do from the most difficult string, the C string, all right? So always try to start from the most tricky one, the tricky problem, the tricky part of your practice. So the easy part will take care of itself, right? So let's go to the C string and try to approach the string from the side to have this almost like a scoopy sound. You're scooping a big scoop of ice cream from the C string. Yeah, and then you do the G string, D string, A string. Meanwhile, you're doing the circular motion. Everything is circular motion. Never, never, never just press down. Bad sound should be eliminated from your practice to the point you won't be able to know how to produce a bad sound. That is the goal, right? So you left hand is so accurate, you don't know how to play out of tune note. That is the goal. Right hand, you are so used to produce a beautiful sound. You forgot how to do a bad sound. Okay, so doing all this in a circular motion, counterclockwise, and then you can do the up bow, start from C string again. And this one is the clockwise motion. And the very tip, and feel your arm is very heavy. Your power source is in the back, is in your upper arm, is in the shoulder, is in your arm, is in the weight of the bow. This is your power source. This is your water tank. Your hand is the switch. Okay? It's like a dimmer or like a faucet. You can control how much you want to use this power. It's the control, is not the source. Be very, very clear with that. So every time when you try to play loud, you're thinking to get more power from the back. Get all the way from the back, not try to press. Yeah, because in here, the more you practice, the sound will get tight and your little muscle here will get really tense and you get pain here. So find your sound. Of course, if you have time, do different bowings. I like to do the symmetrical bowing. So you see, I'm trying to incorporate my whole body into playing. So I'm not trying to be very stationary with my body. I try to do the opposite motion, the contrary motion, and I'm trying to feel free. This is the goal of practice, right? So we talk about that, the freedom that you find, the total freedom of the technical problem will enable you to express yourself musically and artistically. So try to find freedom. If you feel something is tight, try to find a way to release it. Yeah, the sound you can hear, does the sound have lots of overtone? Yeah, if you grab the bow too tight, sound become tight. So it should feel more very, very loose. After that, in the next 5 minutes, you can practice scale. In scale, the objective is IRS, right? Intonation, rhythm, tempo, and the sound. So everything we in practice is like we're building a great pyramid or a great building, layer after layer, foundation first, and then the next layer, and the next layer, and the next layer. Eventually will reach the top, the ceiling of that building. But when you're doing the next layer, don't forget you are building on top of the previous layer. So when you play scales, the sound, the feeling of this freedom, the balance of your hand, you still need to maintain. Now the next layer is your left hand. You need to find the intonation. Now how do you find intonation? By practice with the open string. Let's start with D or G major because they have lots of overtones. So it's good to use those scales to clean our ear and to hear the sound. So I like to find that D on the fourth position on the G string and play with open D so I can hear what is the in tune note. You can play with the open string. They're nice and they ring a lot, and then it's actually a very soothing kind of feeling. Yeah, so then you can find the notes in here. This is a D minor, okay, because what we're doing here, you can do D major as well. Right? You find all the D, E, F sharp. The D is a little flat, maybe. So you tune your note to the open string. Yeah, of course, the open string need to be in tune. But once you tune the open string, tune to that open string, then you practice your 1 octave for the beginner, 2, 3, 4 octave for the more advanced player. But you go through this. Every time you can still use the open string while you play your scale. From here, you can use the G string. This note is not quiet now. It's better. So when you have 2 notes in your ear, that's much better to find the intonation. You can also use a drum, but I feel we have an open string, by use this first. You can also use different open string to find different result. If you use the G string for the second octave of the D major, then you can tune the open G string to the tune the G on the D string to open G string. Same thing. So once you find that intonation, then your ear is more sharp and you'll be able to hear. Intonation is 80-90% of your hearing. If you can hear the notes in tune, then you can play the note in tune. And then the intonation is also relative. If you only hear a linear kind of intonation, like the melodic intonation, sometimes when you play with other people, it tends to be either sharp or flat. Okay, so practice that. You can also practice this shift by using the arpeggio for the scale, right? So every time when you play scale, you will still have this beautiful sound. You can also practice vibrato. Everything is beautiful. Everything is ringing. Everything is artistically high standard, right? So this has become your base color. Once you practice the repertoire, then you can just add a little more personal touch, and you be there. So again, it's the same logic that we're building but we're building this great structure from layer after layer. Yeah. So don't think about we practice the scales. It's just very boring. No, scales can be very musical, and you use different bowings as well. You can use any bowing that you encounter in the next repertoire. If you want to practice the swan, let's say, you want to do the slur, right? So then you use slur. Now this time you can use 3-note slur because it's it's 3-note slur. Then why don't you practice 3-note slur and with vibrato? And practice like this is actually the notes of the piece, and you play with connection, you play with the phrasing, you play with all the things you're going to do in your piece. Okay, after that we'll jump into the repertoire. Now again, know your objective, why you practice this piece, which part is the trickiest part, and then you dive into that trickiest part first, because your time is limited. You cannot just aimlessly, mindless practice. Yeah, this is very, very dangerous and very, very wasteful. So again, use the swan as example. If the high note is your kind of tricky part, yeah, the D is always a little bit nerve-breaking for you. Now, try to find that D. Try to find that D several times, and then if you don't, oh, okay, well, so why that you cannot find that D, right? How do you have this Google cello map, right? Instead of just guessing, you know, you have a sat nav in your mind, know exactly the location. So if you don't know, then you have to go back to try to understand the geography of the cello. From the first 6th position is a complete set. From the 7th position, you go back to the open string, which is so it's the same note when you go into the 7th position, which is the A, D, G, C. If you understand that, if you can play the D here, then you can play the D here. Because A, B, C, D, right? So if you want to find the F sharp, use the D as your guide. Again, building the new knowledge based on the old knowledge. So instead of use third finger, you use the first finger on D. Now third finger will be on F sharp. Okay, need some fine tuning. Yeah, intonation is always a lifelong perfection, at least for me. Yeah, sometimes even I know where the notes are, I still need to fine tune them, because when you finger play, there are discrepancies. So to me, it's a never-ending process. But you need to be very clear with this, right? So after you know where the notes are, and you go backwards to prepare yourself how to get to that note, the shift. Okay, what is the thing I need to do with the shift? Very clearly, I need to move the big muscle before the smaller muscle. From the A sharp to D, I need to move my arm first. Arm. And the two questions about shifting: which finger, where? Which finger and where? In this case, which finger is shifting? It's the second finger, it's the O finger. To where is to C sharp. So if you know that, you will have much higher chance to find that note. If you want to practice something really flashy and fast, then you need to incorporate that finger exercise before you do the fast repertoire in your practice. So probably do some crossman in the beginning. So in this way, you try to practice the light touch of the fingertip, because when you play fast, you don't press the finger all the way onto the fingerboard. You are actually like you're running, you're like doing the sprinting. Your feet is almost barely touch the ground. Very light. So when you play, fast, you don't feel that this really stomping of your finger going to slow you down. Yeah, anytime when you play fast, like this. So when you play this kind of fast passage, you I barely press my finger all the way on the fingerboard. So I try to be very, very light. Okay, so this is a quick guide, but it's already almost 20 minutes. I hope that will help you to establish a very efficient practice routine. Thank you for watching.